What's good, y'all? Back again, another day. It's your boy, the Curtis York, and I'm back again with another video. But before everybody, welcome to Yorktown, man. It's going down. Big Saturday night. As you can see, I got the Toonami playing in the background. Your boy is showing his age, man. Shout out to Toonami, bro. Like, you really had to be there to understand how impactful Toonami was, man. You had to be there, bro. We got Dragon Ball Z in the background. But anyway, man, I ain't gonna waste too much time. What I wanted to talk about tonight, y'all, while we here, man, is friendships. You know, how to tell who's genuinely a friend and who isn't. You know, I looked at one of my other videos, and the video about coworkers not being your friend was one of my highest videos of last year, and it's still obviously one of my highest videos. People watch it all the time. I'm still getting comments, I'm still getting opinions on it all the time. Your coworkers not being your friends. So I figured, I always say, we don't just want to be the doom and gloom people in Yorktown. We don't always just want to talk about the recession and everything that's going bad. We want to talk about some of the good things, or we want to talk about determining what's what and who's who. So tonight, what we'll be doing is talking about, you know, um, who is your friend and what friendship looks like and what you can expect, and just the whole nine. So that's what we're gonna dive into tonight. I'm gonna share some personal stories, and if anybody wants to chime in or talk about it, then that's what we got going on. And also, shout out to my brother Jay. He is the one that suggested this topic, so I want to give him his flowers. His flowers. Always being a stand-up gentleman and a true friend. I definitely appreciate him. So that's what we're talking about tonight. Friendship, man. So with that being said, let's go ahead on and get started. Um, First things first, what you really want to look out for to determine if someone is your friend or not. Oh, hold on real quick. Hold on. I don't know if you see the ticker in the bottom or not, but we have some new people in Yorktown. We are 69 subscribers away from 500, y'all. Make sure when you join, you like, you comment, subscribe, the whole nine. You share so we can get it across the air. Shout out to everybody in Yorktown, man. I appreciate y'all. Wouldn't be possible to get here without y'all. You know, um, I got to keep it 100. With everything that's going on right now, it's very reassuring to know that my people in Yorktown are holding it down, man. It's really good to relate and identify with a lot of people, man. I consider y'all my friends. But without further ado, let's talk about friendship. So, one of the first things you want to look for when determining whether someone is your friend or not is respect. You want somebody that respects you and they treat you with respect, and they care about you. That's something that we take for granted, man. But first and foremost, respect. If somebody doesn't respect you, then they can't be your friend. So you definitely want somebody, if you're going to be considering them a friend, to respect you. And before we get any further, y'all know I'm Mr. Analytical. Let us look up the word friend just so we have a common understanding of what the definition of a friend is. I think that's a good starting point. So I'm just going to backtrack a little bit and we're going to move forward. So, with that being said, I'm just going off the simple Google definition. I think it'll suffice for what we have going on right now. And the good Google says that a friend is a person whom one knows and with whom one has a mutual bond of affection, typically exclusive of sexual or family relations. So, affection, for those of you who don't know, affection just means a gentle feeling of fondness or liking, which leads back into the word respect. If you have a fondness of someone, then it's truly fine if that person respects you. They don't cut you off when you're talking. They don't demean you in front of other people. They don't act different when they get around another friend group or anything like that. You know, those are the things that you want to look for, and that's respect on a very general basis. Something else you want to look out for is trustworthy. You know, can you depend on this person? It makes me think about, whenever I think about trustworthiness, I think about when I was in college. My advisor for the Call Me Mr. program, when I was getting my undergraduate degree in education, a wonderful, brilliant man named Mr. Rudy Willard. He used to always say, "Can I trust you? You know, can you be respected? You know," or my favorite, "Be where you're supposed to be, doing what you're supposed to do." You know, it sounds so simple, but it saves so much trouble. Just be where you're supposed to be, doing what you're supposed to do. You can't go wrong if you're where you're supposed to be, doing what you're supposed to do. And that's what trustworthiness is. And that's what you want to look for in a friend. You know, now, granted, there are going to be instances when your friend has something going on and they can't get to you, or, you know, they have their own things going on and they may need a little time. But for the most part, more often than not, a friend is someone that you could depend on, someone that's trustworthy, someone that, you know, has your general interest, because that general best interest rather, because that's how you build that rapport and that's how you build that relationship. Which leads right into the next one, which is consistency. You know, you want somebody that's consistent, somebody that you know what you're getting. You understand, you know, your friend, when you talk to your friend, this is what you're going to get. And this is why you guys click. It's not, you know, today is this, tomorrow is that. You know, they're very consistent in their friendship and how they treat you. You know, acceptance, that's very important. And that kind of ties into respect. Someone that accepts you and they understand you, your flaws, and, you know, they respect you and they treat you how they want to be treated. And they understand that, you know, even if there are differences and you don't have necessarily the same shared beliefs or anything, that respect and acceptance is there. Those are the types of things that make a very high quality friendship. And then also, you know, with a friend, you want somebody that, again, dependability. You know, if you're going through something, even if they can't help you out financially per se, you know, they can point you in the right direction or give you some advice or can look out for you. Because, I mean, if we're being honest, a lot of us don't have money. So just because someone can't help you out doesn't mean that they're not a good friend. They may be able to give you some good information, but they may be able to hook you up with somebody that can give you the money. Or, you know, there's other ways. It's not always transactional, but, you know, it is transactional, which, you know, everything in life is transactional. And people have a very bad connotation about transactions and about manipulation. But the really reality is everyone uses someone for something, you know, whether it's validation, whether it's love, whether it's reassurance, whatever the case may be. People use other people for things. If that wasn't the case, everybody would be living on islands, or everybody would be their own individual island and wouldn't need to depend on other people. But we do. You know, you think about businesses. Businesses are built on groups of people working together for a common cause. Communities are built on people sharing the same beliefs, working together to bring those beliefs into fruition. So, you know, a lot of people have a negative stigma about manipulation and usury, which, you know, there are negative traits. And we'll get into that when we talk about the negative traits, or how you could tell someone isn't your friend. But right now, we're focused on the positive side. And, you know, somebody using you or you using other people isn't always the worst thing in the world. It just depends on the context of how you're using that person. And if it's reciprocal, you know, if it's not, if it's just, I always call you and it's one sided and I never get anything in return, then yeah, that's something you want to look out for. But, you know, if I'm down, I know I can call you. And if you're down, you know, you can call me. That's what you will want. And that's what makes a friend. So, let me see. I got a couple personal stories, man. You know, when I was down and out, my brother Jay, who recommended that I talk about this topic, you know, there's been numerous situations when I didn't, like, first we met because, you know, I was trying to get into real estate years ago and I had no idea or anything at all. And, you know, I could tell that he had some things going on. He had motion or whatever. You know, he was getting things done. He was getting deals done. And you know, he took me under his wing and he showed me a lot of things and he gave me experiences, and he taught me how to navigate the real estate space and the business space, and just life in general. And through that, we became friends. I have friends that I don't necessarily talk to every day or all the time, but I can pick up the phone and call them, and there's no love and lost, or there's no harm or foul or anything like that, because we've already built that bond and we've built that relationship. We've set parameters and we set baselines of how we operate. So, just because you don't talk to someone all the time every day doesn't mean that you're not that person's friend. Now, what I will say is, when you have gone time without speaking to people, the last thing you want to do is just randomly call and ask for favors. So you always want to make sure that you're checking in, and not checking in just to ask for favors later, but you genuinely want to check in on people that you consider friends, just to see what they're going through and what they're dealing with and how you can help them, you know? All right. So let's talk about the interesting thing and how you can tell that people aren't your friend. You know, Negativity sells, salaciousness sells. So let's dig into it, man. And the first thing is, of course, the opposite of being trustworthy, someone that's not trustworthy, someone that you can't depend on, someone that you can't count on. And again, it's one thing for someone to be busy or someone to be going through things and they can't get to you right at that moment. That's totally different from someone that says they're going to be there and then they never show up or they never come through. When obviously, a lot of times it's just that they don't have the character or the quality of, their personality to say, hey, I can't make it, because they probably don't want to let you down, or they don't want to hurt your feelings. But ultimately that is a character flaw, because you much rather somebody say, hey, I would love to help you, I wish I could, but unfortunately, I won't be able to. Here's why. But here's what I could do, or hopefully this helps you. That's totally different from somebody saying, oh, yeah, man, I'm going to be there in 5 minutes, or oh, yeah, I got you. And then you're looking and you're waiting and they never show up and they just ghost you randomly. Like, that's not a friend, because, a friend would break it down and they explain it to you and they let you know. And excuse me, y'all, I'm wearing my glasses because your boy is tired, man. I was out hanging with some friends last night. And we'll talk about that, just because, let me say this, just because you're in the same organization, and this is what a lot of the kids in college and a lot of the kids just in general, just because you play for the same sports team, or just because y'all go to the same school, or, if you're in illegal activities, just because you guys are in the same thing, that doesn't necessarily make that person your friend. So just keep that in mind as we move forward. As you all know, or as I mentioned previously, I am a member of Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity, and people used to always say, "Every brother ain't a brother." Just because you're in the same fraternity, that doesn't mean that that person is your brother. And shout out to my guy Matt, man. Matt is the true definition of a friend or a brother, man. Matt always reaches out. Matt is always just sending little positive energy and words of, motivation. Just every Monday consistently, Matt is just saying, yo, man, have a good week, and that little stuff goes a long way, man. It's like, sometimes we respond, sometimes we don't. And, I hope he doesn't take it personally, but I look forward to those little messages every Monday consistently. Matt is just spreading positivity and good energy, man. When I had my daughter Amani, Matt was just giving me wisdom and game because he has daughters. So shout out to him. And then we got my brother Jay in the building. Shout out to him, suited and booted. He's the one that actually gave me this topic. So shout out to him, man. That's what we're talking about tonight, friendship. But, just to kind of backtrack and reel it in a little bit, like I said, man, every just because you're in the same organization or you work for the same company or whatever the case may be, that doesn't mean that that person is your friend. You know, things that you want to look out for. We already talked about untrustworthiness, which is really big. You always want to try to hang around people that have high character, and character. I think that that's something that is lost. I remember when I was in elementary school, they used to have character words, and I think they still do it. When I check out schools and stuff, I kind of see it, but there used to be a very big emphasis on character words, and just I think character is something that is truly important in society, because when you have character, it speaks for you. It's your reputation. People know how to deal with you. And, when you deal with high character people, you know how they're going to treat you and you know what you're going to get and you know what you're dealing with. But when you deal with low character people, it's like rolling the dice. You never know what you're going to get. You never know what they're going to drag you into, what they're going to pull you into, what kind of mess or what's going on, just because their character is bad. And things that most people wouldn't mess with or things that they stay away from, people with low character, they don't really care because they're just focused on being self-centered and looking out for their own interests, which leads me right into the next one. If you have someone that's extremely self-centered and every time they do something for you, there's a what's in it for me, or what do I get out of this type situation, then that's something that you want to look out for. And that person probably isn't your friend. And the reason I say that is because a friend wants for you to have the best, or they want you to be okay to the best of their ability, even if it doesn't necessarily benefit them or they don't get anything out of it. I think about, again, my guy Jay, we were working together a lot. And, there was times when he would put me in a position where I would make money and he didn't get anything out of the deal. He just wanted me to have money. And because I have good character, I always just break bread and give him something just off the strength. But, it was just purely, hey man, I want you to be straight. So this is something that you should look into. I don't want to mess with it, but you might be able to mess with it and make some money off of it. If you do, cool, good luck. So those are the things that you want to look out for. But if somebody's always just, giving you something, but they're getting something back in return, or, they're asking what's in it for me, or they're looking for ways that they can take your situation and benefit themselves. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that anytime somebody does something for you and they get something out of it, they're being malicious or they have ill intent. That's not what I'm saying. But if that happens every single time somebody does something for you, or they won't help you unless it benefits them or they get something out of return, then that's something that you want to look for, because that's somebody that isn't your friend. That's somebody that's your friend because they're using you or they're getting benefits off of you. I remember back in high school, the person who had a car, because in high school, to have a car, you have to be responsible. You have to get gas money, or you just have to have parents that just want you to have a car. The person that had the car always had the most friends, or they always seemed to be the coolest because they could get around and they could maneuver how they wanted to. And all the kids that didn't have a car will always gravitate to the person with the car so that they could get where they wanted to go. Or, if you had a car and they didn't have a car, then they always needed something to eat, or they always needed to go somewhere, or they always had this in mind or that in mind, but they didn't have a car, so they couldn't do it. And you could always tell, because the minute something went wrong with your car, or the minute it was time to pull up to the gas tank, nobody was pitching in for gas. Nobody was trying to figure out how they could help with your car. Nobody was trying to figure out what was wrong. Or if they were trying to figure out what was wrong, they were only trying to figure out what was wrong so that they could try to determine, how long they couldn't use you. So, for the high school kids that, if you got your car early or whatever, something like that, then, if you just out of the blue just start getting a bunch of random friends because you have a car, you definitely keep that in mind that, they probably aren't your friend. They are using you for your car. And if your parents are telling you that and you think your parents don't know nothing, then let me tell you, there ain't nothing new under the sun, y'all. Technology may be new, technology may change, but a guy that I used to work with in the construction industry, he always used to say, no matter how many upgrades you put on the sink or a toilet, at the end of the day, you still have to flush it, or the water is still going to come out. Like, the function is always the same. How it happens may change, or how it looks may change, but the actual activity is always going to be the same. We like to think that texting or sending pictures is brand new, but remember, pictures have been around way before us and way after us. text messaging. Before we could text, people wrote letters, people had diaries and journals. So, the context of how we do things may change, the technology may change, but the people behavior is always going to be the same. There's nothing new under the sun, and that's true, man. So just keep that in mind, but something else you want to look out for people that aren't genuinely your friend is, we already talked about being unreliable. But here's a big one. And this is one that I think a lot of people don't really catch on to or pay attention to: jealousy. You know, a lot of us keep people around us that are jealous of us for the simple fact that we don't want to be alone. There's a lot of people out here that have, you look at rappers, a lot of rappers end up getting killed by someone that they know. You got a lot of people that make a lot of money and they go back to their neighborhood and they think that, people love them and they're happy for them. But those people are jealous because they want to be that person, or, you've made it out of a trying situation and they're still stuck there and they expect things from you. Now, am I saying don't go back home or don't get back or anything like that? No, that's not what I'm saying at all. But what I'm saying is, you have to understand that if something happens to you and, you end up in a position and your life changes, there's a lot of people who may act like they're happy for you, but deep down inside, they are jealous and they want what you have, or they want to be you, but they can't get it, or they feel like they don't understand why it was you and not them, because they don't see the work that you put in or the sacrifices that you made or any of that stuff. Or maybe they do and they just feel like still it should have been them. So, you definitely want to keep an eye out for that. And, some signs you can kind of tell of someone being jealous, man, is whenever something, if you get into the weeds, you got to be really good at reading people's faces. There's a lot of great videos on body language. Um, there's a book that I used to always read by a guy. His name was Voss. His last name was Voss. He was a former CIA agent, or and the name of the book is Never Split the Difference. What was his name? Christopher Voss. Yeah, let me show y'all. The book is called Never Split the Difference. And the book is about negotiation. But, a very important chapter in the book when you're talking about negotiation is you're talking about body language. You're talking about micro expressions on people's face. You're talking about the tonality of their voice. You get really deep in the woods. Like, you tell somebody some really good news and, they frown a little bit before they say something happy. Or, you tell them something happened and, they start downplaying it, or they say you didn't, they joke, but the joke is really mean spirited, or, kind of nasty. Those are the kind of symptoms and signs that you want to look out for. Obviously, of course, the 48 Laws talks about that as well, which is one of my favorite books. If you haven't read the 48 Laws of Power yet in Yorktown, then I don't know what to tell you, man. But yeah, you definitely want to look out for signs of jealousy and envy, man. And, to be honest, people don't like to admit it, but everybody's been jealous and everyone's envious of somebody. It's just human nature. It's like, everybody has narcissistic tendencies. Everybody likes to think of themselves first because all is yourself. So, you got to look at everything on a scale. Like, if there's a spectrum or a scale, you look at 0 being really low, 5 being medium, and 10 being extremely high. Like, jealousy is an emotion, it's a feeling, so is envy. Everybody has those feelings. Everybody has fear, But the thing is, if you inch towards that 9 or 10, then you have an unhealthy level and you need to figure out why or what's going on or what you need to do. And if you have someone around you that's like at a 9 or a 10, then the same thing, you probably want to remove yourself from that person, because that person can really change your life or put you in a bad position or even in your life. you know um let's see what else we got. Lack of respect, or just people that are always put throwing you under the bus, and this ties into jealousy as well. But they don't respect you. They always try to downplay you, or I remember when I was younger in college, or yeah, in college, when I first got to college, because I grew up in a single home, and I tell y'all this before, it wasn't no secret or anything like that. I was always looking for male camaraderie, and not in a homosexual way or anything like that. That's not what I mean. But just to be accepted by other men, like, you good, man. You one of the guys, I was able to find it in high school, but college was a whole different terrain as well. So, same thing, just looking for validation. And if you're not careful, then what happens is you'll get around people that understand that that's what you're looking for, and then they'll manipulate you and exploit it just to get what they want out of you. Because I had a car my freshman year of college, and a lot of people didn't. Like, you had sophomore, juniors, and seniors that didn't have a car. Let alone as a freshman, you're not even supposed to have a car. But I was able to, maneuver with my car and have it around and stuff. And I fell in that trap, which is why I can tell y'all, I'm speaking from experience. I had a car and they didn't. And, they always try to downplay me or make it seem like I was the little bro or the little homie, or, I would have to work extra hard or whatever the case may be to have their acceptance. And then one day, I'll never forget, I was talking to one of my homeboys, and he was like, yo, man, my guy Mike. And he was like, yo, man, why you let them treat you like that? It's like, they don't have a car, you got the car, you the one that be dressing, and you the one that be getting fly. They circumstances ain't like yours, but they running game on you, and they got you feeling like you're the one with low self-esteem, and they're the ones with low self-esteem. And I'll never forget it, because after that, everything changed. I was like, you know what, you're right. And sometimes that's what it takes. That's what a friend does. They'll show you things about yourself that you don't see, and they'll ask you uncomfortable questions, and they'll open things up for you and make you accountable, and show you things like that. And those are the types of things that you want to look for both finding a friend and not having a friend. Friends are gonna have uncomfortable conversations with you and tell you that, you slipping, man. You're getting lazy, or, that day you didn't study, you could have been studying, or, you might not want it as bad as you say you do, because I just don't see the work ethic. You ain't making no sacrifices. You ain't doing what you're supposed to do. And, I encourage all of y'all, man, to find a mentor, somebody that's where you want to be, that can show you how to get there and clear your path up. As you can see right here on the screen, mastery. One of the crucial steps in the book Mastery, Robert Greene tells you that you need to find a mentor, someone that's where you want to be, that can give you advice and wisdom to help you avoid the pitfalls. And that's also not going to coddle you and tell you what you want to hear, but they will tell you where you're falling short and what you need to do. Like, I remember, again, my guy Jay, in my younger days, me and my child's mother used to get into it a lot, and I would always blame her. I would say she ain't doing this, or she need to do that, or whatever the case may be. And he would always put it back on me, like, yo, you the man, bro. Like, you gotta step up, or you need to do this, or you need to do that. You falling short. You don't never blame a woman, bro. It's like you. That's very female oriented. That's a female mindset of thinking. And you got to be able to take criticism and listen when people are actually giving you good information. And that's a good way to distinguish, good friends and fake friends. You know, People that are really your friend, they're not going to tell you what you want to hear, but they're going to say it in a way that isn't demeaning to you or isn't putting you down. I'm not going to say it might not be hurtful. That's not what I'm saying at all. It might hurt your feelings, but it's not going to be in a way that's just malicious or ill intent. It's constructive criticism. And you got to be able to determine what's actually constructive criticism, and when somebody's just trying to play you, because there is a difference. And that just comes with, again, character, and just understanding, what that person's intentions are. And that helps out a lot. So, yeah, man. Let's see what else. Let's see. My guy Matt said friendships can make or break your life. Yeah, man. You know that old cliche. You're only as successful as the people around you. That is accurate, man. Like, you hang around a bunch of people that smoke and drink, then even if you don't, then, and that's the thing, even if you don't do, if you have four friends that smoke and drink and you're the fifth and you don't do that, but you're hanging with those people, now you're just wasting time because there's so many other things that you could be doing, but you're hanging around people that do something that you don't do, or just things like that. And it goes back to character. If you value your time and you value what you're doing, you wouldn't hang around people that aren't interested in the same things that you are. A long time ago, and I'm not going to dig it up because I'll really be looking all night. There was an old interview with, I think it was either Bill Gates or Warren Buffett. See, I don't even remember who it was, but I remember the interview because they were asking him why he doesn't have that many friends. And he was saying, um, truthfully, people think that they want to be my friend because I have stuff, but, and I'm paraphrasing, but if people saw my day to day, they wouldn't want to be my friend anyway because we don't have anything in common. Like my life would be very boring to the average person, So I don't have that many friends because there aren't that many people that can relate to me. And I'm not going to change who I am for them. And, chances are they're not going to be willing to do what I do. So it is what it is. And, I always thought about that, man. A lot of successful people don't really have a lot of people just hanging around them, So that's also something that you want to keep in mind. You know, a lot of us think that we have friends, but we don't. Having a friend is very, very, very rare. A true friend, man, building friendships with your lover, most valuable because that's your life partner. 100%, man. And that takes time too, and I think that's a lot of what's wrong with today's society as far as dating. A lot of people don't think about building a friendship with their person, or actually getting to know them and understand them. First of all, everybody's so focused on the financial element, and that's like, that's, it's important, but it's not the most important thing because finances come and go. Money comes, you'll be up, and you won't, one day you'll be down. Like right now we're not in the best financial position or where we were 5, 6 months ago, but our relationship hasn't changed because it's not based on money. It's based on our friendship that we took time and built, you know. And that takes time. It really does. It takes time. It takes uncomfortable conversations. It takes changing and growing. It takes adapting. And a lot of people just don't really seem willing to do that these days, which is why you got so many stupid relationship podcasts and you got so much bad advice out here because people just, I don't know, man, it's weird. But anyways, I'm gonna give you a few tips on building friendships, and then we probably gonna go ahead on and wrap it up unless you guys have anything that you would like to add to it, like my boy Matt. So some tips on building friendship is you know reaching out first and foremost, but it shouldn't be one-sided. If you reach out, then the other person should be reaching out as well. It's reciprocal. Like, the only person I probably talk to every day other than my wife is my guy Jay. And and then that's pretty much it, man, because it's like, it's just something, I don't know, at this point it's just routine. I don't even talk to my parents every day, but I know for a fact this nigga's gonna call me or I'm gonna call him and we just gonna chop it up, even if it's for 5 or 10 minutes. We gonna chop it up. Um, but also, it's the context of the, and let me say this, let me backtrack real quick before we get into that. How to build friendships. Also, it's okay to outgrow friends and it's okay to lose friendships. I think that that's also something as well. People feel like they're obligated to hold on to friends or relationships that no longer benefit either person just for the sake of saying that they have friends. You know, yeah, it can be sad, it can feel like a breakup, yeah, it can be uncomfortable, but there comes times when, people don't respect your boundaries, or, people cross you the wrong way, or not, it doesn't even have to be like a negative thing. Sometimes you just literally outgrow people. Your friendship was based on final diss, or just anything. You were a pen collector. You collected pens. You guys collected pens, and y'all had all types of fancy pens, and y'all would wake up every morning and talk about pens and just go down a list of pens. Well, one day you decide you don't like pens anymore. You like pencils. So, you don't want to talk about pens anymore. You're focused on pencils. Your life is pencils now. You want to collect the most expensive pencil in the world. You want to collect designer pencils. You want to collect the old pencils with the rose art and the whole thing. You don't care about pens anymore. So naturally, that friendship isn't going to be what it used to be because your interests have changed. Whenever you talk about pens now, all you can think about is pencils, and talking about pens drains you. And it's okay. And one of the biggest ways you can tell that you're outgrowing a relationship or a friendship is when all you talk about with that person is what y'all used to do and how things used to be. There's no current right now, or there's no forward, what we should do or what we're gonna do. All you talk about is what you used to do, because that's the person that you used to be. They don't understand the new person. They don't understand why you don't like pens anymore, why you like pencils. So all they want to talk about is pens, and it's draining you because you don't care about pens anymore. You care about pencils. And obviously, guys, I'm just grasping for it. It could be anything. I'm just trying to pick something vague so it doesn't feel like I'm picking on anybody or I'm talking about any specific thing. You just outgrow people, and that's okay. It's not a bad thing. That doesn't mean that you've changed. Well, you have changed, but change isn't a bad thing. Your body changes every day. Your cells die, and then you get new cells. Your hair falls out and you get new hair. When I was 19, I had waves and I had a fresh lineup. When I was 23, the edges of my lineup started receding and I didn't have a crisp lineup anymore. And I had to make a conscious decision to shave my head because I felt like, ain't no need for me to be trying to hold on to something that no longer serves me. Like, that's how, here's a perfect example. You know how y'all be laughing at people that are bald, but they buy a wig, or, they get the Beijing, or they get the hair plugs, and they do all of these things to try to bring their hair back. That's exactly how people look when you hold on to friendships that no longer serve you. Like, you look silly. It's like, yeah, you can't physically, you don't look that way, but mentally you look silly because you're hanging around people that you don't have nothing in common with. You can't relate to these people, but you're scared to just say, you know what? I'm just going to cut it off and start fresh, you know? And again, it's not a bad thing. It's just life. Some friends you will grow with and you'll grow together and you'll be friends forever because you both are on the same path and you both are growing in the same direction. Sometimes you have friends that will grow in different directions. You know, they like baseball cards and you like sneakers. And so y'all just don't have anything in common anymore. And that's not a bad thing. It's not the end of the world. It doesn't mean that you're fake anymore. What would be fake is if you kept hanging around that person or you kept talking to that person and, you don't anymore. And really, I'm gonna just go ahead and put it out there. What happens is, you might have had low character in the past, and you might have been, doing things that you shouldn't have been doing, and behaving a different way. And then you decide you want to stop and you want to start behaving a different way. And your friends don't want you to do that because they're used to seeing you in a different way. And in that moment, when you did that, they were your friends because that's what you had in common. But now that you're trying to better yourself and you're trying to move in a different direction, maybe you want to dress up and wear suits, and your friends want to run around in the street. That doesn't make you a bad person because you want to go corporate and you can't get involved in those type of activities anymore. That just means that, you're moving in a different direction. I think a lot of people need to hear that, man, because they get afraid and they don't want to grow up and they don't want to let things go and they don't want to leave people and things behind. And they get really jammed up and they get really caught up in bad situations because they just couldn't let go. So, with that being said, now that we got that out the way, you definitely want to listen to people. That's a very key trait in building friendships. You want to listen to people. You want to hear what they're saying, and you know, let them get everything out, and then respond based on what you're hearing and go off of that. You want to respect boundaries. If your friend says, "Hey, I don't like it when you go on my refrigerator without asking," you know, don't get offended or don't feel no type of way. Just ask if you can go in the refrigerator. They didn't say don't go in my refrigerator. They just said, hey, ask. Or, you just gotta respect people's boundaries. You show appreciation when people do things for you. Like right now, everybody's talking about things that Cat Williams has done for them, and he never publicized it or broadcasted it. He just did it out of the kindness of his heart. But everybody that talks about him, they just show this extreme appreciation and gratitude for what he did because he didn't have to do that. Those are things that you want to do when someone does something nice to you, man. You want to show gratitude and appreciation. Quality time, obviously life changes, circumstances changes, and the amount of time you can spend with people varies, changes. Maybe you move, you have more kids, whatever the case may be. But when you do spend time with them, you want to make sure that you're attentive. Put your phone down, connect, reconnect, bond, and just grow, man. Also another one, and this kind of ties into the boundaries as well, but handling conflicts respectfully, man. I've seen so many situations where people fall out and it just gets ugly and nasty. And then, they make up without ever resolving the issues. We don't like to apologize all the time. And, it may seem like things are good, but that type of stuff takes a toll. And people don't forget how you treated them and how you made them feel. They may act like they don't, or they may act like it doesn't hurt them, but people remember that stuff. They keep count and they keep inventory. And one day they might just cut you off, or they might not talk to you anymore because you just crossed the lines too many times. Um, and then you want to support and grow together, man. Again, it doesn't always happen that way. Sometimes people grow apart, but you can grow apart but still grow together. If your goals change or your ambitions change, you can find things that you have in common with your different fields. Like, for example, let's say that, you know, pens and pens, yeah, they're different, but they're both writing tools, they both use paper. So you can still find ways to salvage that relationship as long as, you know, the subject matter may change, but the content, if that makes sense, or the actual focus and ways of growth stay the same. So if you can bridge that gap and find the commonalities and the different things, then it is possible to grow together with someone, even if, you know, their certain principles or whatever the case may be vary or change. It's possible, it just takes open communication and growth. Now, lastly, before I wrap it up, because I do want to spend some time with my wife tonight, I want to share with you guys a poem that Muhammad said about
Hey, it's
friendship.
Dana from StreamYard.
So
I'm so excited
let
to
me show
announce
you
that
guys this
local
really
recordings.
quick.
I wrote a poem. It says, friendship is a priceless gift that cannot be bought in our soul, but its value is far greater than a mountain made of gold. For gold is cold and lifeless. It can neither see nor hear, and in time of trouble, it is powerless to cheer. Gold, it has no ears to listen, no heart to understand. It cannot not bring you comfort or reach out a helping hand. So when you ask God for a gift, be thankful if he sends, not diamonds, pearls, or riches, but the love of real, true friends.
There you go. Of course, fair use, but I just wanted to show y'all that, man. People that really understand true friendship know that it's very rare to come across true friends. It's been said that most people. Let me see, because I don't want to fudge the numbers. How many true friends does the average person have? How many true friends? The average adult only has three true friends. Three. Three. So as grown adult people, you'll probably only have three true friends. The rest of them are probably like, well, there you go, between three to five. Three on the lower end, five on the higher end. So finding true friends, as you can see based on that number, is not that easy. It's very rare. So when you find them, you got to grab them and hold on to them and make sure that you treat them right and make sure that it's reciprocal. So, so excuse me. With that being said, man, I'm gonna go ahead on and sign off. Um, I was gonna pull out some quotes and some scientific studies on friendship and whatnot. I may say that for later, but I'm actually about to go, like I said, kick it with the wife while the kids are asleep. So just wanted to share that with y'all, man. If you find this content valuable, then go ahead on and hit that like button. And then also go ahead on and hit that subscribe button. We are 69 subscribers away from 500. And again, your boy is unemployed, man. So, I am trying to live off this little YouTube thing. Not to sound like I'm working on a mixtape or anything like that, because this ain't that. I am actively looking for my next business ventures and my next moves. I ain't saying that, but would be really cool to be a full-time content creator. And by you guys liking and commenting and subscribing, that helps me to do that and take care of these beautiful children of mine. So with that being said, thank you and have a good night.